टेक्नोलॉजी फॉर ब्लेंडेड लर्निंग। आज का यह सत्र श्री रवि कुमार श्रीवास्तव जी को समर्पित। धन्यवाद।
Thank you all. Sorry for not just raising my voice. I think now I'm audible and my voice is raising to you all. So I'm just going to start my session. First of all, I want to thank that you have just chosen me as a resource person for your school. I want to just introduce myself that I'm Ravi Shriwastaw, TGT, and the IT faculty from Mahavir Saraswati Vidya Mandir, Barhan Gopal Siwan. So today's we are just going to explore this session about the blended learning. You all know very well that our government of India has launched the new education policy 2020, and the new education policy 2020 evolved in very frequently in IT era. That's why we are just going to explore. This is a very, very, very important matter. So I'm just going to explore some slides before you, and you will certainly, I'm just assure you that you will enjoy this session very much. So please just go ahead. So I think you all are just visualized from this slide, technology for the blended learning. So first of all, what is blended learning? We all know very well that some agenda we have that what is the technology for the blended learning or the hybrid learning? You know, teaching learning materials like ensuring the accessibility of these resources to the learners and the teachers, and its judicially use in the teaching learning process guarantees the learning environment as the investigated in national education policy. So by the end of this session, I will just assure you that enumerate various learning resources and the tools, both offline and online, to be used in the process of the teaching and learning. Also have access and use the online and offline resources optimally and judiciously for the hybrid or the blended learning. So what is the technology for the blended learning? The blended learning, the blending, it means the ICT tools. It means, you know very well that today's session, we are just having the online on the Zoom platform. This is just the Bhaskar sir had told Abhashi Baitak. It means we are just at our home and just we are having a meeting, online meeting. We are just getting just useful, so much important discussion on this online platform. So blending the ICT tools for the remote learning as the discussed before it also, and when integrated with the physical classroom learning, can create a harmonious effect on the teaching and learning processes, which is the principle and constituent of the conducive learning environment. So blended learning is about finding improved ways. Blended learning is about the finding improved ways of the supporting learners in achieving the learning objective and the providing them with the best possible learning and the best experiences. It also supports the teacher in the profession with the multiple tools and approaches to instructions, which can be highly effective for the learners with the different learning capabilities and the styles. Thus, the creating the environment conducive to a learning for the children with the varied capabilities and interest. We are just getting the many kinds of the challenges also in the teaching strands in the hybrid model in the blended learning. So first of all, I want to just introduce you the what is the actual meaning of the blended learning. The blended learning is an educational approach under which a student learns at any time, at least in any part at a mortar and the brick facility, and through online delivery with the student control over the time, place, path, or the pace. In simple word, it is a combination of the both online and offline mode of the teaching and learning. It includes the best practices of the both and modes of the teaching and learning due to advancement in the technology and more importantly, due to the present scenario. Blended learning has become the need of our arts. Blended learning involves teaching practices that integrate online with the face-to-face activities content that can be taught both at the classroom and from the distance, combining technology with the traditional teaching so that there is a harmonious effect on the teaching and learning practices. Blending learning model lays down flexible learning paths where the learners use the technology for the finding information, understanding information, using information in the teaching learning processes, which is self-paced, and the role of the teacher changes from the guru to the learning creator. So blended learning involves some of the agendas like you are just visualized just before your screen, that the challenges also of the teaching and learning stage in the hybrid model. In this session, we will learn about these agendas. It means integrating the stance of the English, integrate the HS into the ELA instructions, what works best, the synchronize and synchronize in person, accessing and assessing the 4 strands like the strategies for the success also, and instructional resource examples. That's why, first of all, we are just getting the knowledge that blended learning and the formal education program in which a student learn at least in a part through the online delivery of the content and the instruction with the some element of the students control over the time, pace, place, path, and other pace, and at least in the part of the supervised brick and mortar location from the away. The blended learning contains like the virtual learning platform, inquiry-based project learning, tech integration, global connection, game-based learning, direct instruction, peer-to-peer coaching, focus on mastery. So we are just technology for the blended learning. Technology, it means you have now the Android mobile phone. And what are you doing in this? You are just creating some of the pictures into the PDF form, and you are just sending in your WhatsApp group or sharing somewhere. By the finding some content, the student can achieve the assignment and the goals. So blended learning is about the finding improved ways of the supporting learners in the achieving the learning objective and providing them with the best possible learning and the teaching experiences. It also support the teacher in the profession with the multiple tools and the approaches to the instruction, which can be highly effective for the learners with the different learning capabilities and the style, thus the creating environment conducive to the learning for the children with the varied capabilities and interest. So I know very well, and you know very well, that blended learning involves the instructional practices that integrate online with the face-to-face activities. Content that is the transacted both in the classroom, face-to-face, and the form of the distance. Combining instructional technology with the actual job task in order to create a harmonious effect of the learning environment. It is a very important point, combining instructional technology with the actual job task in order to create a harmonious effect of the learning and working. Combining technology with the traditional teaching, it is also referred to as the reverse teaching, flip teaching, backward classroom, or the reverse instructions. It helps students learn at their own place and collaborate with the peers. So blended learning, also known as the hybrid learning model. We can just find that many kinds of the features it has, like remote learning tools. We have the remote learning tools, like we have the Zoom, we have WebEx, we have many kinds of such a platform. With the help of that, we can just create remote learning. Flexible schedule, it means our meeting, our webinars, our classroom can be conducted at any time, anywhere. It is the flexible schedule. And also in the pandemic, we all know very well that social distancing is very, very important. How much important it is, social distancing, you know, well, just before some days, we are just getting so much trouble. So why social distancing is important? I think it can't be refuted so much. Before, you all know very well that you have just experiences very much it is. So healthy safety is very most important. And face to face, it may no any kinds of the physical instruction. That's why personalized blended learning, adapted learning tools also. So we are just getting some challenges in the blended learning. What kind of the challenges? There are the many kinds of the challenges here. The learners may lose interest soon. The learners may lose interest soon. So we are here that how can I just make our class with the help of the blended learning, with the help of the IT tools, with the help of the hybrid learning model, that we have not to just make our class, make our learners so much bored. That's why we are here. We are just going to just learn that how can we just use this blend platform, how can we blend ourselves. That's why we are just here. So these are the challenges. When we just overcome over that, then after we can just achieve our goals also, and we can just achieve the goals to the learners, to the children, to further people. That's why increase the cost of the operation. Then how can I just reduce the cost of the operation? Creation of the effective content or the online modules. How can we just create online modules, online just content? It is very important. We have the mobile phones, but we are just aware that we are just people using only 2 to 3% maximum features of the Android phone. But Android phone is a world in your just faced. पूरी दुनिया आपकी मुट्ठी में एक एंड्रॉयड फोन के कारण है, बट हम सिर्फ 2 से 3% ही उसका यूज कर पाते हैं. So it is very important that we have to just aware the features, the right use of our IT tools. Lack of the digitally enabled teachers. It is very, 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 very lack of the blended learning platform. We can just enumerate the many kind of the feature with the help of the literacy about the digital platform. Digital divide also, digital, we will just discuss in ahead session that what is the digital divide. So proper balancing of the online and offline modes also. So 5 ways to implement the blended learning are many kinds of the models in our country, like our diverse model can be used to deliver the blended learning models, rotational models. Under this model of the blended learning, students shift between the 2 platforms on fixed time and schedule, which includes either working online or spending time with the teacher on a face-to-face mode. This method is the more used in the elementary schools. Under this model, the students become more active learners and often challenge themselves to work harder and learn topics that had not yet been introduced in the classroom. There are the 4 varieties of the models, like the station rotation, lab rotation, individual rotation, and the flipped classroom. We will just learn ahead that what is the benefit of the flipped classroom and what is the flipped classroom. So first of all, we will just learn about the flex model. That what do we do with the help of the flex model? So flex model, under this model of the blended learning, the content is delivered to the learners online. The learners, the teachers are present in the classroom on the site to provide all types of the assistance and support to the learners. But learning is basically self-paced and the learners learn totally independently in the presence of the teacher. This model is used to support the student who are studying in non-traditional ways. We will just learn ahead many kinds of the tutorials and self-blend mode also help in that. What do we understand by the self-blend mode? There are the many kinds of the self-blend mode. It means the self-blend mode. We will just take a tutorial video. I'm just going to share a tutorial video before you, and then after we will discuss more and more. So we are here, just I'm just going to explore some video before you here. I think you are able to visualize this videos.
I can say that the things I've been doing the last few years have really made a difference because my kids
what we're going to do
have
in
scored the
today's video to
highest
set
in the
up a
state
hybrid
on
classroom
standardized
is
tests.
we're
So
going to
what we're
connect
doing
to a
here
Google
is
Meet
working
or a
and it's
Zoom
helping
or
them
a
be
Cisco
successful.
WebEx on 2 devices, okay? One's going to be your
We
host
define
device,
blended
and then
learning
you're going to
as
log
the
in as
combination
yourself
of
again
digital
on a
content
second
and
device
activity
to show
with
your
face-to-face
whiteboard. A lot
content
of
and
lessons
activity.
are using a whiteboard.
It
okay,
sounds
or you
easy
might
to
be
blend, but it
doing,
really it looks very different in
a
every
lab test,
classroom.
okay?
So if a
Something
teacher
in
is
your
using
lab, a
something
science
that
lab.
works really well
So
in
you
a
do need to see
face-to-face
like the physical demonstration.
situation,
In
they
today's
should
video, though,
continue
we're
to
going
do
to
that
show
because it
you
works well.
like how we can
If they
utilize
can
the
find
whiteboard,
something else that works
teaching,
better, is more efficient, or
online
more
as well
effective,
as
that's
in
digital,
the classroom,
then
a
that would
hybrid
be
lesson.
implemented.
So what I'll do first is I'm
What
going to
I
log
have
into
online
this device.
could be
I'm just gonna
completely
log
different
in,
than what the biology
to
teacher has
start a
online or
meeting
what the
now.
physical education
And
teacher
make
has
sure when I
online.
start a
It
meeting
just
that I'm
depends
gonna
what you
give this
need
meeting
those
a nickname,
kids
okay?
to
So
have
just
in order
for
to
convenience sake,
understand what they need to learn.
let's just say hello 1. And let's
Okay,
join that meeting.
go ahead and get the
Wait for it
laptops.
to load up. So I'm going to do the same thing
And
now
actually,
to a
anybody
second
that's in
device. I'm
small
just gonna
group,
do
come
this
over
on
here. I
my
need you to
iPad.
get
You
a
can do this
iPad.
on your smartphone, whatever secondary
Why
device
I
you're
wanted
going
to go to a
have.
more blended
One thing to be
environment
sure of,
was
though,
so that
is
I
that on
could
your
figure out a
secondary
way to
device, make sure
differentiate
that it's at eye
instruction
level, or it's at
within
least
the
at a
biology
level where
classroom.
you can present the board.
And I wanted a way to be able to work with students in small groups while other students are still engaged in content learning.
There's 3 activities. One's a sorted sentence activity, one is an online interactivity, and one is small group that's going to be working with me. Okay, slide to the apps and open up EduCreations. Because we're going to fill in this chart, because this is going to get us practicing base pairing between DNA, RNA, and reading our codon chart. Okay, so what goes with G? C. C. So I'm going to put G and C together like this, right?
I've probably learned more today just by doing this than I have the whole week that we've been doing this.
We looked at the research about blended learning, we defined it, and then we had to figure out what would it look like in my class. And so that's when I went, well, I actually want to use it more as a tool for the kids for like supplemental materials.
Top or the bottom of the cylinder.
There's always practice problems, or you can go listen to somebody talk about the topic. But the kids started to say that we don't want to listen to somebody else, we want to listen to you. And we need your help. And we want to hear your voice. So I started to go, okay, well, how can I do that? And so our technology person said, have you seen this app on the iPad? And me, not knowing anything about technology, went, I have no idea what you're talking about. Teach me. So we went through a process of me learning how to use the Show Me app. And then I started making podcasts, and it gives me a chance to be in their homes, wherever they are, 24/7. It's virtual Weller is what we call it.
And that will correspond to 6 to 9, like it has in the rest of the problems.
The podcast helps so much. It's as if she's actually there and she just goes through it again and you can finally understand it.
I see them, they'll plug in, I look over and they have it on their phones, they have it on their tablets, they have it on computers. They do podcasts for me during class time. I will have specific problems I want to see, just do they understand the basics of what we talked about today?
40, 60 plus C. Divide 40 to get C by itself. And C is equal to 45.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For me, classroom time, direct instruction, investigations, discovery, that's all still part of teaching. It's not all online. A lot of the face-to-face stuff is still the most important thing to me. The online tools are there to help make understanding even better, even more rich of an experience for the kids.
We really wanted the focus to be on the teaching and learning part and on the digital tool as a secondary thing. Kids don't always get it the first time or the second time or the third time, and this allows different ways for those kids to get it. The pass rate for my kids the first year was 75% and the second year was 93%. The state average is somewhere around 60%, so something's working for these kids.
So here you have just got that some visualized effect of the videos. And what do you just learn from these videos? Today's scenario is saying that we are just discussing about the blended learning, that our teaching style should be changed because it is so much, I'm not saying that the traditional method is not good, but we have to just walk away from the technology. That technology evolved the self-blend mode. Under this model of the blended learning, the learners learn by attending the traditional schools, but have the option to learn through the online mode too. This model is applicable for the students who are the highly self-motivated and want to learn beyond the traditional courses curriculum offered through the brick and the mortar approach. Online travel models can help. Under this model, we can just get the blended learning about the entire teaching learning takes place through the online platform. And teachers are available to assist the learners, but also to online. This model gives the total freedom and flexibility to the learners to learn as per their voice and choice of time. And schedulers, we are just getting the schedule with the help of a blended learning platform. With the help of the Zoom tool, we are just having this webinar. And since this model relies mainly on the technology as the primary means of the delivering materials platform, like the Google Classroom, online forms, PPTs, digital libraries, and can be used effectively in this model of the blended learning. So what tools and methodologies for the blended learning? The context and the themes of the resources should be appropriate. And literally, the teachers are very important part of the blended learning. A machine can't work automatically. It should be need to just operate somebody. So teachers are the very powerful resource for that. Artistic or the educational merit of the materials need to be highly beneficial for the learners, and the teaching learning resources include the textbook, novels, films, plays, radio programs, also multimedia, lectures, speeches, performances, digital learning resources, including the video, audio, text, animation, and the images. As the concept lays down the basic tools needed to implement blended learning in a smartphone or a laptop with the internet facility. And enough on the online content following are the some of the tools and perform that can be just used in our blended learning. So, ICT, information communication technology, plays very important role in this. So in this session ahead, we will learn more about the ICT and how it helps us. So tools and platforms like the Google Classroom, Padlet, Jamboard, online forms, PPTs, online learning, and based games like the Kahoot quizzes, MS Teams, like the Microsoft Teams, and many kinds of we have just got a tutorial video that what is actual the blended learning environment with the help of just we played a video on the YouTube. So YouTube, like Earn Academy, and many kinds of the Khan Academy, and many more such as the applications are available in the market for the student and teachers to exchange the resources, knowledge, and skills. We are just talking also the methodologies, the project presentation, flipped classroom, videos on topics, debates, self-paced assessment, peer assessment, teachers assessment, and school bookmarking facilities, etc. Some of these tools and methodologies are described also in this way that the digital library, like the traditional library, the digital library include resources like the ebook, online games, reference materials with the help of the learners gain information. Like in this session, we will just providing you some of the reference link that you will just get there and get many kinds of information about the blended learning. And you will also get some kinds of the help from that reference links also. You can just learn many things. You can download many kinds of the content from there. So very important also, there are the pre-recorded audio-visual resources for the benefit of the students learning that the learners can gain access 24/7 for the information. The such information and the digital library are a great source of the research and oriented resources accessible to the learners. The major advantage of the digital library is that the user need not to go anywhere physically, not to go anywhere. The learners may prefer reading on their own during the independent reading time. It means whenever you want read at night, whenever you want to just read at noon, then you can just suffer for that anywhere, any website from the referred link, and you can just explore that. They choose their own set of the books, and based on their individual reading level too, it remains the interest and curiosity of the learners as the reading is no more challenging. They can also write the books reviews and set it on the digital platform. School bookmarking tools also available in that. Then school bookmarking tools allows the user to share the favorite web pages with the others, and student can use these tools to share the content with each other that they find relevant to a course or the assignment. Tagging and commenting features of these tools providing useful organizational and the discussion opportunities. Pocket, Google Keep, Flipboard, Instapaper, and Pinterest are some of the example such, and variety of the resources can be explored on the particular topic. Like we can just get the web discussion. We are just getting the web discussion this time also in real time. There are some tools on the web which help the student collaborate and participate. These are the discussion tools which give creative access to the student voice. So what are the benefits of the blended learning? Now, there are the many kinds of the benefits of the blended learning. So we will discuss also about that what are the benefits of the, so we will discuss many kinds of the ways that how can we just implement the blended learning. There are the 5 A's: face-to-face driver, rotation, and flex, labs, and online driver. So that's why we will learn about the ICT. It is a very important tool for the blended learning. So I can just refute some of the benefits of the blended learning that are the blended learning leads to an enhanced and the learning outcomes for the student, and student can prepare their own digital content and prepare for self-assessment. But how? When you will just help them to just blend themselves. So increase the use of the digital tools for the interaction and amongst the students and between student and teachers. Today's students are the very smart than you all. So we have to just make ourselves more smarter than them. Because if we will not make ourselves smart, then they will be smarter than us. And how can I just guide them? When the student will not realize that these are our teachers knows more about than us, then they will be not controlled by you. So it is very important that if you want to just control them, if you want to just control over them, then you have to just learn many kinds of the ICT tools. That's why you can show the right path, right areas, the ethics that how can you use the technology. Technology is not to waste anything. Technology is not for that to destroy anything, to affect somebody's like intentionally. It is for the creation, for the constructiveness. That's why time can be saved and reserved for the use in the discussion important issues and the topics also. These are the benefits of the blended learning. Self-paced learning also and enhance the opportunity for the learning, motivates a student through the collaboration and improve ability to personalized learning. So teachers, how can the teachers plays an important role in the blended learning? The blended learning shifts the teacher's role from knowledge provided to the coach and the mentors. This shift does not mean that the teachers play a passive or the less important role in the students. So I want to just get you the intact that education, the quite contrary with the blended learning, teachers can have an even more profound influence and the effect on the students' learning. The blended learning provides an appropriate balance between the online instruction, which offers the interactive and tech-based learning. Individualized pacing and the privacy keep the student continuously engaged and motivated. Thus, the teachers-led instruction, which personalized the learning experience and adds the human elements of the encouragement, compassion, and caring guidance that only teachers can give. Thus, the blended learning is keeping the tools of the learning open, provided the technology and online resources are used ethically and in a safe manner. So it is very important to know more about the ICT tools. So what are the importance in ICT in blended learning? ICT tools and the uses through which the learning spaces can be made conducive and the learning for the learners are discussed to make the learners happens in the environment, especially in the today's pandemic times. Blending of the resources like the ICT infrastructure can play a very significant role. Information and the communication technology is mean the ICT refers to all the technologies and tools of blended learning which involve the communication, including the internet, wireless networks, smart gadgets, softwares, middlewares, video conferencing tools, social networking tools, and obviously the computer at the center spot, which will enable any user to access or retrieve, store, transmission information or the data in an electronic or the digital format. Unpretended changes that we have all the witnessed during the pandemic times have forced us to adopt online form of the teaching learning with the most of the world in lockdown. Due to the pandemic, people are working from home and students are learning from the home in an online format, and parents are sharing the responsibility along with the teacher and supporting the children. Before we have delved into the ICT in education, education in so many today, let's first understand the fundamentals of what is ICT. So ICT infrastructure and resources as the blended learning of the learning resource are very, very, very important. So information and communication technology refers to all the technology tools of the communication, including the internet, wireless networking we have just discussed. So we will know more about the what is ICT. The ICT term is specified, means any technology that has to do with the information and communication, like the ICT components, hardware like the computers, mobile phones, Android phones, software, networking components. The term ICT is sometimes used synonymously with the IT. It means the information technology. But however, the ICT represents a broader list of the components related to the computer and digital technology as compared to IT. Today's information and today information communication technology are in the things, and so the repository of the technology expand further to encompass computer and computer related products. There are the various ICT tools and resources available for the making online education fun, based, interactive, and competency based. Few of them are discussed, like situating tools, virtual classroom. This situating tools situate learners in an environment where they may experience the learners consists of the happening. Mean the term of the sometimes and that efforts to enable more and more people on the other side of the digital divide. Constructive tools. These are the used to manipulate information. These are the tools which manipulate information, construct their own knowledge, and visualize the student understanding. For example, Microsoft PowerPoint, MS Word. Communicative tools. This allows easy communication between the students and the teachers, or between the students outside the physical classroom. For example, email, video conferencing, video chats, electronic whiteboard, etc. Spreadsheet also used for sending information among the students and the teachers simultaneously. So we can just informative collaborative tools also. These are the tools used for the meeting discussion, information dimension. For the example, internet meeting, room meeting, like we are just having the meeting on the Zoom. Podcast, Cuckoo FM and many kinds of the tools. In these days, you are just getting the many kinds of the story books or the NCERT books pre-recorded audios there. Only having the earbuds in our ears, and we can just learn anything, anywhere, at any time. Blogs are created through the website applications. These are the collaborative and the communicative tools maintained by the individuals and the institutions that provide the information and are the perfect gateway to share the informal information. Podcasts, I just discussed that podcast, digital audio video made available anonymously through the internet on the specific addresses. This can be circulated among the learners with the specific learning outcomes. So online repository of the learning resources are very, very important in these days. This is the e-Pathshala. This is the e-Pathshala we are just going to discuss. We have also in Vidya Bharati e-Pathshala. E-Pathshala is organized. We are just getting many kinds of the information, like the e-Pathshala providing the many kinds of the chapters also. So teachers not need to just prepare many kinds of things. They can just share the information. They can share the any kind of poetry, poem, and any kinds of the stories, any kinds of lesson related to the any kinds of the subject, like the English, Hindi, SST, anywhere. So Vidya Bharati also following. These IT tools are involved in us, and very frequently we have to use it. We have to just come to know that what is the actual blended learning and why it is important. So ePathshala is an initiative of the MHRD under its national mission on the education. You know, many kinds of the TV channels having the educational programs. We are just getting the Swam Prabha, Swam, and you know, just before some years, the government of India launched a elementary education course like DLED, which is just organized by the NIOS, National Institute of the Open Schooling. And you know, there the training of the teachers having with the online mode on the television. This was the distance learning education system. So we are just going to discuss the ePathshala. So before it, we will just discuss more about the IT tools. So IT tools infrastructure should be refuted before you. For that, you can just understand that what are the importance of the infrastructure of the IT. Okay. So information and communication technology refers to all the technology tools, you know. So importance of the ICT in education is that today we do not need to go any further than our home, our own home, and even in the room also, we can say, to see some form of the ICT in our lives, whether it be the computer, TV, mobile phone. In today's society, people are also the consumer of the ICT. In direct or indirect way, we are just having the ICT tools. We are just getting the IT tools, and we are just using the ICT tools. But it is important that very important that how can we just instruct ourselves? What is the right use of the ICT tools? Anytime learning, the e-learning or the online learning, the presence of the ICT in education allow for the new ways of the learning for the students and teachers. E-learning or the online learning is becoming increasingly popular. This does not only open the opportunities for the schools to ensure that the students have access to curriculum materials, wish list in the classroom, but also ensure its availability at the home also. ICT brings the inclusion student with the special need are no longer at the disadvantage, as they have the access to essential materials, and special ICT tools can be used by these students for their own education need. You know, we have just listen and read more about the great scientist Stephen Hawking. And you know, he had just explored many kinds of the invention, many kinds of discoveries, how with the help of ITT. So now in this day, this is the IT era. We have the IT tools in our hand. So why it is not just getting the knowledge about the goodness of the IT? And it is the only rumor that IT involved the AI, like the AI just rule over the world. No. This all are the wrong rumors. When you know the right way that how can you just handle the ICT tools, then it is very friendly. It is very friendly. ICT brings the inclusions. You know, I just told you that effort to enable more and more people on the other side of the digital divide to have the access to opportunity that the ICT offers will create a conducive and the learner environment at this pandemic time. This means working on the three most important aspects of the life: access of the ICT and ensuring a device for all at the affordable price. And assistive technology with the facilitates access, easy access to the people with the disability. It means the young children, the young peoples. Digital literacy include the basic ICT training. We have in our hand. We can just learn, we can just explore, we can just refute anything, anywhere, at any time. But it is very important to have the knowledge about the ICT, how to handle it. ICT promotes the higher order thinking skill. To use of the information and communication technology and innovation are the vital in the upgrading the key skills for the 21st centuries, which includes the evaluating, planning, monitoring, and reflecting. ICT enables the subject learning. It is well known these days that the use of the ICT in education adds a lot of the values to key learning areas like the literacy and numeracy. The availability of the rich learning resources online makes it very attractive option to learn. ICT allows the teacher to produce and modify resources quickly and easily. It allows the access to a wide range of the information in various formats. Computer software, cameras, and a range of the ICT device can all make the teaching more effective and more fun for the pupils. ICT use develop ICT literacy and the ICT capability in the both are the in 21st century skills that are the best developed by the providing them with the meaningful activities enabled and embedded in the purposeful subjects related to context. Just take an example. We don't know that how to handle something. We have just purchased a television, we have purchased some machine, and we don't know how to handle it, we don't know how to setting it. Then we just open the YouTube and we search the method how to set this machine. So this is the power of the ICT. This is the power of ICT. ICT use encourage the collaboration. ICT naturally brings the children together where they can talk and discuss what they have the doing for their works, and this is in the turn opens up the avenues for the communication, thus the leading a language development. ICT facilitates the conducive platform and shared learning in which the students are the responsible for own other and one another learning as well as their own, thus becoming the critical thinkers. So ICT tools, there are the various ICT tools and resources available for the making online education fun-based, interactive, and competency-based. Few of them we can discuss here. That situating tools we have just discussed about, and constructive tools we have just discussed about, communicative tools we have just discussed about, and many kinds of the tools. We are just going to discuss the online repository. So it is very important to know about this, because many kinds of the teachers can just enable themselves to learn about the ePathshala, Swam Prabha, and Sahodaya for the self-studies. स्वाध्याय ही हमारे ज्ञान को बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ाता है. तो ये सारे जो प्लेटफॉर्म है, पाठशाला, स्वयं प्रभा, स्वयं शोध गंगा, शोध गंगा इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टूल. हम लोग योग्यता विस्तार करते हैं, योग्यता विस्तार. It is I'm just saying about the Sodh Ganga, that it is an important platform, that open platform where the research of the student can submit the thesis and symposium so that several others can be benefited. It is an open platform where more than the 3 lakhs this are available. जो रिसर्च करते हैं, जो बच्चे रिसर्च करते हैं, जो स्टूडेंट रिसर्च करते हैं, उनकी जितनी भी थीसिस है इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे मिलता है. और इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे मिलने की वजह से जो भी टीचर्स है वो भी इन सारे शोधों को देख सकते हैं, पढ़ सकते हैं. लगभग 400 यूनिवर्सिटीज के यहाँ पे अवेलेबल है कंटेंट. एंड इट इज अ परफेक्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ द ऑनलाइन रिपोजिटरी फॉर द लर्निंग रिसोर्सेज. अब इससे बड़ी बात क्या होगी? इससे बड़ी बात क्या होगी कि बहुत सारे शोध आप तक जो है आसानी से फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट पहुंचते हैं. So we are going to discuss about the ePathshala. ePathshala is an initiative of the MHRD under its the National Mission on the Education, and it has the innumerable e-content on the various disciplines which enable the learners to learn at his or her own place. Swam, It is the free online education platform under the Ministry of the Education, Government of the India, which provides free courses to the learners, especially to the teaching members. Like if you're just sitting at your home at night and you want to just learn something about the chapter, we can just learn something about it with the help of SWAM. SWAM provides also a TV channel. Through this, a learner can view high quality of the educational program on the TV and has access to view the content anytime. Limitations of the ICT. You know, there are some limitations also of the ICT. We have to know about the limitations. So there are the limitations, certain limitations. What are the certain limitations? The concern over the security, but we can just overcome about it, the limitations, when we have the good knowledge about ICT. So what can we do to just overcome over that limitations of the ICT? So first of all, we will learn about the limitations, that what are the limitations. So data, when the transmitted in the digital form, in the more prone to the attacks like the hacking. Therefore, the concern over the security of the data always prevails. Moreover, the threat of the virus attack too can disrupt entire system of the working. Set up the cost. You know, ICT tools involve a computer, a mobile phone, but government is just working here to just evaluate and just mean this setup cost. Unmonitored explore to the long screen time and various websites can harm the student and pull them into the trap of the unethical practice. That's why unethical practices, that's why I'm saying that it is very important to learn about the blended learning tools to guide the to guide about the tools, the right use of tools to the students. We are teachers, we are the guider. When we will just more than the student, then we can just guide. ICT capabilities are not evenly disturbed and distributed. That's why it is very important to just learn about the ICT tool. Otherwise, we have the digital divide. You know, it creates the digital divide. That's why we will just discuss more about the ICT. You know, you have a graphics just before you that we just use the flipped classroom. We have discussed in the starting session flipped classroom. Flipped classroom is very important, very important that we can just use this feature of the blended learning platform. Flipped classroom are the most popular mode of the rotational model of the blended learning. A flipped classroom is structured and around the idea that students collect information before the class. How to implement a flipped classroom? How can we just implement the flipped classroom? What is the right model of the flipped classroom? So that's why we have just discussed many kinds of the features of the blended learning. So we will use in flipped classroom that first of all, the point wise, I want to just say that plan and decide which technology you use. It means which kind of technology we are using, which kind of platform we are using to discuss to getting online classes. Like if we are just using the Zoom, then we have the good knowledge about the Zoom. We have the good knowledge, all the features about the Zoom class. Is it? So, so we will just discuss more about the flipped classroom. The second feature, pick your audio video platform and decide on a format. That which kind of format should be used for the audio video platform. Listen to the feedback from the student also. Create online or the digital content for the viewing by the student. Device method to verify that the student have the watched or seen content or not. Listen to the feedback from the student. You know, whenever you will just share any kind of the messages in the WhatsApp group, then you should just know about that your content which you have just shared in the WhatsApp group has been seen or not. has been seen or not? With the help of info, I think you know all very well that how can you check it. So it is very important, and it is very important to take feedback from the student. That's just lead ourselves to just improve, just improve. Is it? It is very important. It is very important to take feedback. So these are the key points. These are the key points. You can just take the screenshot of it, that how can you implement a flipped classroom, how to develop the content for the use of the flipped classroom. So here are some examples. Decide about the Is group, that what kind of content for which Is group you are just creating. Look for the materials online and reuse what have been prepared by the other teachers. Create the materials using the infinite number of the applications for creating the digital materials, and knowledge and comprehension, it means the outside of the classroom. Knowledge and construction inside. What to consider while the using the flipped classroom model. So we will just take an example here with the help of the tutorial video, and after it we will just finish this session. But before it, I want to just show you the benefits of the flipped classroom. You know, learn at the own place. We can just learning at sitting our own place in our room. Opportunity for the active learning during class time. Absentees can catch up also. You know, in these days, there are the Bihar board examination having in your just school. And we are not getting any kinds of the trouble because we have online platform here. We are just getting explore more and more. Our student also is getting the knowledge, getting the classes with the help of the online class. But many kinds of teacher having the problems, getting the problem, that it is the duty of us. It is the duty of us that we have to just learn more about the digital platform, IT tools, about the application. That how can we just create PDF files? How can I just take an image of a textbook, a content? So it is very, very important. Meaningful learning activities, a student-centered model, learning autonomy, more efficient use of the class time. Teachers' content can be reused also. You know, there are the many kinds of the sections here. Like if you are just having the class in 8A, then also you have the class 8B. So teaching in the class 8A and having that content can be used, can be reused in 8B, 8C, like that. And also the content related to some of the subject can be used in some classes also by the some other teachers. So development of the higher order skill we have just discussed about just before it, and varying learning preferences, practical applications of the knowledge during the class, one-to-one interaction, student engagement and motivation, benefiting diverse learner. So we are just going to explore some of the slide more than it, and then after we will just get here some of the videos tutorial, and I will just share in the chat box. There is some reference link. You will just make it copy, or you can just visit there. Visit here. You can just copy that all reference link. We can you just copy that all reference link here. And you can just take the benefit, paste it somewhere, paste it on your WhatsApp group, then you can just take the benefit of it. So I just prepared something here. So I want to just share with you here. I want to just take some reference link here. I have. So in chat box, I'm going to share it. You can just take the benefit of it. I'm just shared it in the chat box. And now we have a tutorial, video tutorial. You will just get it. Going to just share it with you. You will get
Welcome back to Bears Grid. On this channel, we simplify educational tech. In today's video, I'm going to show you, well, it's part 2 really of the hybrid classroom. In part 1, I showed you how you can use your computer to present presentations in the classroom if you've got students in class as well as online. Okay, so what we're going to do in today's video to set up a hybrid classroom is we're going to connect to a Google Meet or a Zoom or a Cisco WebEx on 2 devices, okay? One's going to be your host device, and then you're going to log it in as yourself again on a second device to show your whiteboard. A lot of lessons are using a whiteboard, okay? Or you might be doing a lab test, okay? Something in your lab, a science lab. So you do need to see like the physical demonstration. In today's video though, we're going to show you like how we can utilize the whiteboard teaching online as well as in the classroom, a hybrid lesson. So what I'll do first is I'm going to log into this device. I'm just going to log in to start a meeting here. And make sure when I start a meeting that I'm going to give this meeting a nickname, okay? So just for convenience sake, let's just say hello 1 and let's join that meeting. Let's wait for it to load up. So I'm going to do the same thing now to a second device. I'm just going to do this on my iPad. You can do this on your smartphone, whatever secondary device you're going to have. One thing to be sure of though is that on your secondary device, make sure that it's at eye level or it's at least at a level where you can present the board clearly, okay? So what I'm going to be doing here is if you're using a smartphone, just use a tripod or something. If you're using a computer or a laptop, you can choose, you can use one of these things. The best thing I have found is, get a stationary box, an old empty cardboard box, and just use that to prop up your computer. So here I'm going to be propping up my iPad in this case. So here we go. I'm going to log into Google Meet and I'm going to log in using the same code that I logged in with before, okay? So let's go ahead and go to Google Meet. And remember, I'm going to be joining a meeting this time. So type in the hello 1 and then you can join with that meeting code. Make sure that the camera is on, but maybe the mic is off, okay? Let's go ahead and join that meeting. Now, once we've joined that meeting, you want to turn this camera around to your back-facing camera. You can do this as well on any smartphone, whether it's Android or it's an iPhone. What to do, you can go ahead and you can switch the camera around, okay? Google is always updating Google My attendance. If I enable grid view, I can see all of my other students as well. Okay, so I would see all of the range of my students. I can continue to engage with students online. The whole point of it is to engage with the students that are in my class as well as those students that are online. So this is a very useful hybrid classroom setup, okay? All you need is a secondary device that displays your current whiteboard, and I can see it there myself. It does seem as if on your device that it's inverted. It's not though, because all your participants that log into the Google Meet will see your device written properly, okay? So as you're writing, it's not mirrored. They will see it perfectly correct. So if I'm writing today's exercise, okay, and I want them to go and do something, of course, they'll be able to read that. Just make sure I deliberately avoided putting the 2 devices on the same table, okay? I've deliberately done that because you don't want this to shake at all. The minute this shakes, you will see on the screen, okay, well, it's not shaking, so it's quite sturdy actually, but the minute this shakes, someone's kicking.
So here you can just see that there are the many kinds of the instruction having a digital, it means the hybrid classroom. It is, I think you all know that what is the actual benefit of the digital classroom. There are the many kinds of the instruction here that how can I just manage the totally influence the class, and how can I just use the audio devices, the video platforms like Zoom. If we are just using the Google Classroom, then how can we just set our cameras, how can I just set our the mic, how can I just our mirror effect, how can I just write on the board that it should not be used as a mirror effect. So it is very, very important that we are just having the realize on the student preparation. So still, it is a pedagogical approach which can be used effectively for the active learning through the discussion. And I think you all know that how can you just implement it in your classes. So thank you all. Thanks to listen me. Thank you. Mr. Bhaskar, sir. Yeah, I just allowed you to unmute. Yeah, I just allowed.
Very thank you, Mr. Ravi Kumar Shriwastaw, for your wonderful session. We are all benefited and hope further in future we also available for us for your session. Thank you once again. Very thanks.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. So should I leave the session now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.